So now that we know how to define our database with the fingerprints, we have to study how to populate this database. So first, your fingerprint database size will depend on the fingerprints density. So if we are talking about a grid layout, the area size and the samples type. So this size will somehow orient your choice about the two solutions to build the content of the database, which can be either empirical or with simulation. So for the empirical method, it's the most simple, but the one which requires the more work. So basically for each fingerprint, you will go physically with a mobile device to the location of the fingerprint. Then you will perform the RSSI measurements and store the result of these measurements with the location of the fingerprint in the fingerprint database. So the advantages of this empirical system is that it's a very simple concept. You already know how to do it since you've already watched my 2 videos about radio tap and packet capture. And it does not require topology knowledge and context to be able to build the database. However, of course, there are drawbacks. There is no free meal. It doesn't scale, because if you want to cover several square kilometers with a lot of access points and reference points, it will be very, very, very long. It will require too much work and too much time, therefore it won't be scalable. Now for the simulation, it's very different. So for each location in the fingerprint database, you will have to trace a line for each access point in the system to your fingerprint location. You will have to count the obstacles and their types between the access point and the fingerprint location. Then you apply a propagation model which takes into account the obstacles, and you store the result in the fingerprint database. The advantages of such kind of system is that it can apply to any setup size. Most of the propagation models are able to cover very large areas. It's easy to update the database, you only compute the changes. It's easy to add access points, so if you add one access point, you run the simulation only for this new access point and you append the result to the database. And it can be combined to an access point planning optimization, in which you can optimize the location of the access points to improve coverage and positioning accuracy. Of course, there are drawbacks. First, that you require an accurate model, because if your model is not accurate, you will have a database completely inconsistent with reality. And it requires a bit of calibration to be able to estimate the effect of every obstacle type on the wave. But this calibration cost will decrease when the area size increases, because you have a better return on the investment in time of calibration if you simulate a very large environment. So there are several models to simulate wave propagation. Usually they are based on Motley-Keenan, which considers walls and calibrate the wall effect with measurements. So basically the formula says that your RSSI for a given distance, so d, which is between the access point and the mobile device, is equal to the RSSI for a reference distance, for something you already really measured, minus 10 logarithm of d on d0 minus alpha multiplied by a wall effect factor, which is defined here. It's the number of walls if the number of walls is less than threshold C, or C else. So it's somehow a wall effect factor cap, because if you have too many walls, you are at the end of the propagation of the signal, you even have no signal. In other projects, you can have various wall effect factors according to the wall types, which is even more relevant with the reality, because a very thick load-bearing wall does not have the same effect as a light wall inside a building. There also exist other models, a lot of models and technical solutions. For instance, based on machine learning and deep learning. So you use some calibration to build your machine learning model, and then you simulate the propagation over the whole building or the whole area. And when you simulate, since all the elements are known, you have the same type of data than the learning data that you used before. You can use calibration and interpolation too. So you use calibration on sparse points and you interpolate values in between. You also can use more complex models. So usually you try to use models which use extensive radio signals physics properties. So for instance, Orangey Labs has very good models, among the best in the world, to simulate radio wave propagation, either for indoor Wi-Fi networks or outdoors 3G, 4G and 5G propagation to plan the network deployment.